Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes. Um,
Is that the project I submitted?
that's what I was just looking at, Sam. I think it is.
Ah,
You want to try re-uploading? No worries. It's okay.
yeah,
Sorry about the
it
problem.
doesn't look like the one I have, but yeah, I'll look real quick.
I think I might have moved a parenthesis or something, getting my computer out of rest mode.
Who's talking?
Me? Hello? Hello?
Hey. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might have moved a parenthesis in this bad boy or something because it stopped working this morning
Okay.
when I was trying to check the sound. I'm gonna try to find that error really quick.
Great.
Just if you're wondering why it's not there yet.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Okay, so it looks like I completely lost my project.
Bummer.
I had more, I don't know where it went.
Huh. Um, if you're in SuperPider and you hit open recent, it doesn't show up anywhere or anything.
It's just, I don't even know why I have this one thing on here. I thought I saved it. Open recent.
Okay, let's see here. 7 people. 6 in air. So Fletcher, you said your project is corrupted and you're not quite sure how to get it uploaded right now?
No, I could get it uploaded. It is just not working anymore. Getting a new error. Yeah,
Cool.
I'm just pretty confused.
And Sam, yours seems to have kind of, your computer or your dog seems to have eaten your homework in the most benign sense.
Yeah, mine's gone. Now I have to redo it.
So, welcome everybody. To Critique Day 1. And Charlie, are you working on getting something uploaded? We're gonna, or that's what I was actually technically hoping for. I had this dream in the middle of the night, like, why doesn't Charlie just do something on the MPC with SuperCollider samples? Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So, welcome to Critique Day 1. This came on us like a pile of bricks, and I know that's the case. Typically, I'm really excited about today. I'm really excited to see where you all are at. I know for some of you, this class has proven quite stressful and difficult and oblique, and I apologize about that. We'll continue to work through things. I think there's a lot of benefits you're all getting from this class, though, even for those of you who are feeling a bit lost, as we think about what does it mean to create real-time systems capable of time-based art, whether that's music or visuals moving forward. SuperCollider is just one means of doing that type of process. So how today will work is each person will have a chance to present their piece. I'd like you actually to come up in front of the class and just tell us about your piece. I'll let you actually kick it off on my computer so you can sit here and be part of the playing up front, and I'll sit back in the back of the room and listen. And afterwards, we'll discuss and critique. So what I'd like is 2 or 3 people at least, if not everyone who wants to present a couple of things they liked about the piece and why specifically they liked those things about the piece. And then what is it about the piece that didn't quite work for them or could have been further explored? What seemed like a missed opportunity, etc. When you're talking about things you like, you can talk about specifically SuperCollider techniques that are new to you or interesting in terms of how they were implemented, perhaps novel uses of techniques that we've looked at in the class. And then finally, if anyone has any questions for the artist about how they did what they did. And then I'll finish out with my discussion at the end as well. Any questions about that? Great. Does anyone in particular want to get going? Yeah.
Wait, my bad.
Did you mean Dr.
My
Fletcher?
mic was just being weird.
Cool. Cool. So who would like to go first? Great, Bearcat. And I think everyone knows this by now, but main volume is this big knob. The quote unquote to a reasonable level, big knob. Sure.
Can I bring up the submission page? Because I have,
Yeah, you can switch over to the Safari.
okay. Fine, and there we are. Oh, this is not a touch screen.
No.
Discussions. Oh, I have to. Bear with me here 1 second. This did not. Let's see. These work. Good. My apologies, I'm not used to Macintosh. Stop.
Totally fair.
That's also the right one. Great. I never know when I'm going to bring up a picture that I've taken and I'm going to link. All right. So, where am I? Hold on. Oh, thank you. Yes. All right. So I did this backwards. I've been dealing with a very sick dog all week, and he's better, but he completely ruined my timetable. So can I take this off for a second just while I'm up here? Or would you rather I keep it on?
Yeah, I'd rather you keep it on.
Okay, that's fine. All right. No, it's cool. It's all good. So I thought mistakenly that it would be somewhat simpler and more fun if I took existing code and then went through the code and looked up all of the functions and everything else and figured out what they did. And so I found a sound that I liked and I copied it in, made sure that it run, and then there were no there were no comments in this. So I went through and added and figured out what every single function did and added all the comments to it. And then I spent the next 2 or 3 hours trying to get it into my digital audio workstation because I couldn't get the blasted thing to record. But once I did that, it came out kind of interesting. I'll just play this
Instead of making my own sound, I thought it would be interesting to find some code and try to figure out what it did. I chose this buzzy sound for the audio texture that it presented and looked up all of the functions to see how they operated. Then I piped Sound Collider into my digital audio workstation and read this document into it. It was a fun project, though originally I wanted to input the signals from a MIDI keyboard, but after 4 hours, I still can't get that working.
As you can see, my system created an absolute mess of connections trying to get my MIDI keyboard into my digital audio workstation, which didn't work. So I ended up using my my web camera microphone as an input for it. But I did at least get stuff into the digital audio workstation. These two here are the, can you see the mouse? Good. These two here that's the Super Collider waveform. These two, good. That's the mic waveform, and this is an automation section that allowed me to raise and lower the volume of the tone as it was going along. And that's that. Yeah. What's that? Yeah. I think. Yep, there it is. What's going on is it is taking it takes a frequency and then it triggers a lag, which goes up 1 second or 3 seconds, then creates a sawtooth wave that builds on itself through here, and then it uses a low pass filter to cut out all the highs, and then it outputs it to the sound card. I particularly like where is it? I particularly like this sound, this function, which spreads an array of channel slots across the speakers, so it moves a little bit. I found it and I altered it to my own uses, but I wanted to I did it this way because I thought it would be quicker and faster than than sitting down and starting my own from scratch. And I spent so much time going through and commenting the thing and figuring out what all the functions did and tweaking things that it actually ended up taking me longer, but I learned more. It was cool. This little Moog function apparently creates can create the sound of a little Moog synthesizer just with this, which is just with the simple function, which is pretty cool. And this delay C function delays input based on a chosen sound rate, which is pretty cool. There are a couple of things that I still don't know what they do. I don't understand converting decibels to a linear amplitude, and I have no idea what tan H does. I couldn't find that anywhere. But all in all, I enjoyed doing this last night, even though I was up till about 5:30. And that's that.
Well,
I'm sorry, can you say that again? Yes, it was. It was intentional. It was also because because I spent because I was so freaking tired. By that time, I was absolutely bleary-eyed. So it kind of came out like I was standing up on stage and hadn't had enough coffee, because I spent a good 2 or 3 hours with really stupid things. I didn't realize that the digital. I've been using Reaper and Logic here in school so much that I hadn't touched my own DAW for about 6 months, but I didn't realize that when you went and I kept hitting record, and it sit there blinking at me, and nothing would happen, nothing would move, the playhead wouldn't do anything. I finally realized that you have to actually hit the play button for it to start recording, which is really weird. But so by the time I did that, I was also leaning forward like this in my chair, because the mic was on my monitor. I guess if I hadn't been so tired, I would have thought to actually pick up the damn camera and hold it closer to my face. But by that time, I was just going to get what I was going to get.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's a
From
good
a mixed
idea.
perspective, I also wanted that after you go, be a little bit more present, have that little incident, was really
Okay. It was really hard to get that. So for some reason, turning down the saw wave made no difference in my digital in my DAW. It was still peaking all over the place.
Well, then there's something fun. Yeah. So I actually really like my sound. I was kind of saying that into it. By accident, in '93, a nice little piece of lucid discussion of process that seemed as a nice way to start today's session. So that was lovely. I would like to have seen a little bit more evolving nature to the musical element itself. And I would have liked to have seen a little bit more thought in terms of how the kind of narrative piece over top laid into that, but the two of them work kind of as an emergent piece nevertheless. I appreciate it, since you did end up finding the process as you're supposed to, of actually counting out everything. So that's great. And then, as Charlie mentioned, mix-wise, mix disorder. But
Yeah. At that point, it was 5:30. I just gave up. I admit it, but yeah.
Great, thank you, Bearcat.
You're welcome.
Let's go next. Go. All right. This is pulled up in our estimate.
Software.
Yeah. Yeah. It has yes.
All right, where's RX? This guy. Sweet. All right, cool. Yeah, that's the thing. All right. So this piece here was a basically what I did was I found some sweet code and altered it to my liking. Let's see, downloads. Let's see if it's gonna come up. There we go. Simple code. I fed it. I fed my my loop pedal into Super Collider, and yeah, recorded a few things from a loop pedal, and then yeah, played around with the panning as well. This was what got affected, and then going back to Safari, and then oop, guess can't see that. Just a screenshot from my DAW. I just play it. Nice piece.
I don't know if you guys can hear me out in the real world over there, but nothing but good vibes. I really liked that. That was fun. And I'm assuming that you recorded all of the instruments like the bass and the guitar. And was that a drum track that you threw on, or were you playing the drums in that?
It was pre-programmed drums, all bass, and I think a little keys. There's little keys in there too.
That's so super dope, dude. I really like that a lot. Also, I thought that the panning was very subtle but very effective. I liked what you did with the panning throughout the piece. I thought that was I thought it was a really cool exploration of like you said, it's a very simple code, but it's cool to see how you can kind of just I hate to say it, but for lack of better word, just vibe with it. And so that was super fun. Awesome work.
Thank you. So how's the delay? Mhm. Yeah. Totally.
No, this is regular delay. Home delay.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Oh, good. Thanks, Bearcat.
Yeah, sounds good, man. I appreciate seeing you find a way to fix the super better elements and apply that into your creative process and into the right now. The way I think it's really well with you might just the drums for sure, right? And then some of the bass as well. Or
All of it.
all very good. I agree with Charlie. Of course, it'd be nice to see you get in there, get a little bit dirtier with Superfight, August, but did a nice job with Scribe with this and figuring out a way to fit it into something that.
Appreciate you.
Hey, who'd like to go next? Yeah, cool. Give him a round. Sure. Yeah, let's do it. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. Do you mind setting up on this one? Of course. Cables are no reason. Middle.
Little as possible.
Was in a foot, or is that table just real wonky?
That was probably a warped. So comb delay, does that mean it's combing through the different values of the delay?
Home delay means it ends up creating a filter-like effect that looks like a comb.
Okay.
to get into. Be great.
Okay, I sampled directly from my laptop into the RCA of this MPC here. It's kind of my weapon of choice besides a guitar and Ableton and a microphone. And I wound up using a P-bind, I think, for the melodic element. And I can play the raw sample first. So. So I had it shuffle through there, go around twice, loop twice. And then I chop that up. This is a sampler. It's meant to chop up samples as you see fit. So I chopped it up 16 times and then gave it some reverb. So it turned into this. There's a little bit of glue compression that's gonna make sense once the kick comes in. Also need to check out the kick to make sure it's not too loud. And then I used, this was another Super Collider thing. I don't remember exactly what it was, and that's my bad for not having the code up. But this serves as kind of a pad behind everything. And then I, yeah, should be right. Then for a build and a kind of breakdown synth bass-ish sound, I used the instant theremin thing, and I just played it on my mouse pad and recorded it into this. So goes all the way up. And there's some EQ that I did in here, high pass filter, and again, some reverb. Reverb just made sense for this one. So with that said, let me just make sure this kick isn't gonna be too crazy. Oh, that's all right. Okay, cool. Okay, and then I'm gonna do a little bit of effects on here. Just a high pass filter to kind of increase the build. So Yeah.
Great.
Future iterations of this, it would be really cool to program some sort of envelope that maybe did that high pass filter that I did here. Although I really like performing it, just for learning's sake and learning how to use Super Collider a little bit more. That would be great. Programming my own drum sounds in Super Collider would be really awesome. I looked it up a little bit last night. It looks like it can be done, as like music has told us in the past.
Although I still end up finding myself like the audio samples. It's super clever.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of just like a challenge thing, but and the saw bass sound that you got in yours was inspiring, and it would be cool to also bring a bass line from Super Collider into this. But I really enjoyed using Super Collider in this way, and the instant theremin is such a great device for making builds and downshifters. It seems like it's going to be a really useful tool in making dance music, actually.
Feedback.
Yeah, the sad thing about living in these times, you couldn't see the grin on my face as I was sitting here listening to this. And I hadn't thought of I hadn't really known what it would look like to use Sound Collider with a pad. You actually take it out to get that. Just
Oh.
so I thought I quickly approximate something like that computer keyboard and sound effects.
You can also get a fairly affordable MIDI controller. You would not bad things too. The thing that I really like, sorry, the thing I really like about Charlie's approach is that Charlie's taking Super Collider again, like full. So if you really get into his creative process in a way that makes sense, he's really quite prolific in using the guy at MPC for sampling. So using Super Collider as the sample engine, sample library into the I suppose what you do.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I think now with DAWs and like the age of the sample pack, and I use those
Yeah.
very often, but sometimes you want a really original sounding uplifter or synth tone, and Super Collider. I don't know of many dance music producers out there using Super Collider as a synth in their music, but
There are many that use Max because it's built into it. But
can I turn this off? Is it gonna pop?
It's a known experience process. It's really cool to see this in this way. It's already done, so you don't break open down.
Cool, thank you.
sounded good. I got nothing.
Yeah, if you want to mess around with this later.
At some point I may.
Can I
Um,
grab this cord?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Can you pull it up by the cord?
The mix sounded good. It helps having a sub in here too.
Yeah, I was so excited about this.
I was gonna let us not have low end today, right? Like that wasn't gonna be an option. Do one of the people who are in Cyberland want to go?
I'll do it.
Great. Mavi, what do you want to tell us?
Well, first of all, I'm very bummed that I can't be with you guys in person.
Yeah, of course. Sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, I just woke up with a pretty bad bug and decided to stay home. So,
Yeah.
but
I appreciate it.
in my place, I am choosing you, Michael, to rock out at the end here. So it's going to use the mouse function. And so if you want to scroll through some of the code, so at the top, I've got 4 different synthesizers that I've, so I tried really hard to write everything myself. There was one or two things that I did rip in terms of synthesizers because there was one that sounded super cool as a bass function. And so I guess next week I want to go through and actually make sure that everything is lining up. But I wrote all of this stuff, so I've got 4 different ones. The snare synth is one that I totally yeah, I was trying to mess around with comb delays, and the example that they had for comb delays sounded really cool and sounded like a snare, so I tried to create a drum track using that. And so then below that, the solo synth, that's one you helped me out with, Michael, in terms of the MIDI arrangement array. And so that one's going to be like a solo synthesizer that goes above the rest of the mix, and it will only play in the right key, which is super fun because no matter where you put the mouse, it sounds good. And then above that, I've got 2 other synthesizers. I've got the kick synthesizer, which is just a low end. I think I used a triangle wave, and then just like boosted the envelope to go from 0 to 8 instead of 0 to 1. And then on top, there's the bass synth. And so that's the bass synth is also one. When messing around with some of the UGens, I found this example, buffer.allocate, I think. And that's one that I want to go through next week and decipher what's going on. But I messed around with some of the parameters in there, and it created a super cool effect, that bass sound. Oh, and then up here, this random synthesizer. So this is where I started off. And so this is just kind of a pretty basic synth sound with an attack and a release. It's a sawtooth synthesizer. And so those are the 4 instruments I'm using. And then if you scroll lower, I've got some tasks set up. And so what it is it's a piece that operates in loops essentially. And so each task is its own loop. And so that random loop right there, what it's doing is it's every single time it's taking 2 of my rando synth, and it is playing each of them in a random key in B minor. And so it runs through in the rhythm. And so it's creating a random effect, but it's always in B minor. And I messed around with the register. So each go around, it's using a different register. And so that's what gives it some of its consistency. So it balances, also it pans randomly from left to right. And then down there, there's the bass loop. Not too much going on there, other than it's just establishing B minor. And if you go up a little bit, then there's the drum loop using the kick and the snare. And those are the 3 loops, and those 3 will play. And then the last is the solo synth, which will have the B minor solo thing.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, also I meant to ask, is there an easy way that I can make it so I can establish all the synth deaths and the tasks really quickly and easily other than having to go through?
But then you're gonna have never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do a weird thing somewhere, but whatever. Okay. Oh, so that one does have an error.
Oh no.
Duration. Mole.
Oh. Huh. That is I wonder what I have that set to in mine. Yeah, I don't know where the mole went in there. That is okay.
All right, here we go. I do okay on your solo synth.
Yes, that sounded absolutely beautiful.
Great. Comments from Matthew. Bearcat says it's the next sci-fi horror track right there.
That's it. That's it.
Clap sound good, says Charlie. So yeah, I think it sounds good, Matthew. You did a nice job playing around there and really exploring the techniques that we've talked about so far in the first couple of weeks. An interesting thing we'll notice here.
Oh yeah, mixing might be the next.
Mixing might be a shit show.
Yeah.
But the thing that's interesting here. Hardcore in our outputs. What's interesting is the quality of synths that you created are all dirty synths anyway, and the both digital and analog distortion that's being caused by maxing out worked to me. Yeah, the distortion worked really well, but obviously if you were to record this into, like if you had a DI, it would just blow the heck out of the inputs on the DI and may or may not sound good. So you probably want to try and find other ways to get that distortion without brute force literally distorting the output by having it be too loud.
Sure.
But I did love the distortion.
What are some ways that you can do mixing in SuperCollider other than just messing with the mole values?
I mean, that's the primary one. The other one that we haven't gotten to yet is you can actually send your instruments to bus channels and then create a synth that would be your mixing synth, and you would bring it in there, and then you can either compress those. I mean, then you can do anything like you normally would. You can have equalizers, compressors, limiters, and you can affect the amplitude of each of those individual channels. Charlie, you got to. Yeah. Load out internally before the limiter. Yeah, that's exactly it. The other thing, Matthew, that I like to do actually, and what I've started doing a lot, is I will, you know how I showed us that we can record things into a DAW? I'll take each individual track and send them on their own channel to something like Ableton and then use that as my front end mixer.
Gotcha.
So then you'd have the kick coming in on its own channel, you'd have the snare coming in on its own channel, synth coming in on its own channel, and then you can use Ableton as a mixer, which Ableton does quite well.
Okay, that's dope. Thank you.
So cool. Other thoughts for Matthew? Ooh. It was good. Yeah. Yeah. Great. Who wants to go next? Yeah. Fuck yeah. Good. So for those of you in Zoom land, you're going to miss out on this. Sorry. Sorry. How do we need to hook you up?
What's the question? HDMI?
HDMI we can do for the audio. Let's see. I
I'm gonna have to start over.
think I'll get such an audio. Okay. I'll be back in 2 shakes.
Michael Music's birthday tomorrow. My.
Anyone seen that error I put in chat?
Sorry for the delay. Like I get a test sound. Is your headphone volume up?
Thank you. That'll do it.
It's a multivariable system. Let's try again. You might need to restart, reboot Super Fighter
Oh, okay.
when switching to headphones
That.
on PC. I forget about that. Yeah, jump in.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
So sorry. Interpreter as well. Can we reload Super Fighter?
Yeah.
It's unhappy with how it's connected to your audio.
Gotcha. Actually got it.
So sometimes what happens is when you've loaded the sense while you're working on it, then you'll tell it to do and you'll forget that you haven't loaded them. Just hit command period and start it all over again. Control period, start it all over again. It should go.
Okay.
Comments?
Yeah. So in Super Collider, I have some synths set up. I'm totally honest, most of these I played with the numbers until they sounded like how I wanted them to sound. I don't know what's going on. And basically, I have this main task, which is I have just a 10-second delay on it so I can have time to get the visuals running. And every single time the little heartbeat sound goes, I have it sending, don't do that, sending a 1 in through OSC messages into processing. And every single time that 1 hits, it just tells it to either add or subtract the alpha value. So 1, it's adding the alpha value of the red, which is just changing the opacity. And then it subtracts it down when it hits 0. So every single time that heartbeat goes, it hits 1 and then it ends and it hits 0. And it's 1 and then it goes 0. And as that goes on, I have an if statement that basically tells it to slowly decrease a number, which is affecting the speed of the wait time between the 2 heartbeat sounds, so that it just goes faster and faster and faster until it hits right about here, which was just the point where it still sounded like a heartbeat, but it was really quickly. And at that point, I just tell to send a flat 0, so everything goes black, and it stops both this heartbeat sound and this bell sound, which is doing about the same thing, except it's sending a 1 every single time. And every single time that 1 is sent in, I tell it to create one of those raindrop objects, which not a lot going on here, but just it's the ellipse and the line in there to make the fall. And Yeah, so every single time I get a message that is of the bell variety, it will add a new raindrop to that array. And then once it has completely fallen and the circle's gone out of it, it just removes it from the array list. Lots of stuff going on. Processing, which is Java, I believe. Yeah.
Processing's. It's a language, it's a language on top of Java, so that it is Java, but a language on top of Java. It was meant to help, initially it was meant to help artists learn how to code, but it's since become a really great environment for creating visual and interactive work. Off of it shot this project called P5JS, which is a JavaScript version of it. And so there's a lot of cool stuff now. And then I was using a protocol called OSC, which stands for Open Sound Control, which is like MIDI, but it's just a newer version of MIDI, essentially that standardized ways of sending packets of information between various, in this case, application to application. Other comments for Maya on the piece?
Yeah.
This is why we got to convince Maya to be touch with that, because she skipped that one before we moved to it.
Yeah, my strengths is I'm really impressed with what you guys do with sound design. That's not what my strengths are. I don't know enough about sound waves or anything like that. So I did something simple with the code and then played to my strengths with the
It's a very
visuals.
powerful piece, though. I mean, you did a really nice job of creating an atmosphere, tying both visual and sound together to create a really coherent work that works really well and show the capabilities of how we can use this kind of multimedia environment to do something. So congratulations, Maya, as always.
Thank you so much.
Next. Yeah, man.
All right. Hold on. Oh, yeah, sorry.
After you. And what that knob might be pretty high.
Okay, so
Turn it down just like a quarter.
Alrighty, so I did something not quite to Maya's extent, obviously. Hers was an 11. This is more of a 5 at best on a good day. But basically, just like kind of like wanted to like expand upon like the daily sketch I did like the week before this. Basically, working with tasks to try to create like multiple like synths to create something kind of cool, basically. And I really want to do something that kind of like sounded like a piano, but I couldn't really figure out how to do it. Like I found this like one plugin, but like I obviously don't know how to do plugins for this. So I'm like, okay, I'll find something else. So I found this like cool example on like the P-Binds like example page that's on Supercollider, and to try to make that my own to a point. And I did have some problem with like the tasks that I emailed the music about that were everything is situated, and like I wanted to put like more tasks, but like it ended up sounding kind of buzzy, so I just made like a couple here. So I'll just hope it's all right. Everything. Oopsie. I know what I'm doing, I swear.
How was Danny?
It kind of reminds me of that movie that we just watched on Monday in experimental film.
Yeah, we watched Under the Skin experimental film class. It does kind of sound like that.
And it sounds like something from a horror film.
That wasn't my intention. After it was like I was done and like said, I'm like, oh, I made a horror thing on brand for this month, but like
Charlie, do you have a comment on that?
Oh, I just,
Yeah, this is great. I haven't had a chance to hear pieces like this for a while, so it was great to hear you people who've been working on to create a fixed, not fixed, but a piece with a beginning and end. It's totally self-contained and super better. So you do a really nice job taking everything you've been working on. I think that some of them are still a little bit oblique about what's happening, but you've done a really nice job of approaching those pieces that are hard as black boxes and moving through what you could. I also like the way that you do the synth that you found in the the other thing is it ends up putting kind of stuff straight into like ambient music territory, so that lends itself well for that reason. But I also could see this if you put a bunch more reverb on it or something, or some other types of elements, it could very much become a watchy, dreamy piece that formed for a very long time. And I'm bummed out to see you take away some of the tasks that you sent to me yesterday. I understand that levels when we did that. But you were really doing a nice job of kind of creating an evolving work that has that ambient quality. I really want to keep over this type of stuff. I'm really excited to get this yesterday. I know that didn't come through my email to you yesterday. But I was really excited to see what you're working on and see what you're doing.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So I'm pretty new to this since I've been gone practicing. So my experience is like pretty low. But yeah, so I just created like a synth and just kind of played around with it, changed the amplitude and just kind of messed around with it until I liked it. That's it. All right, so yeah, and then I just made it go for infinity and I made an array of like different durations and frequencies and yeah, so this is what I came up with. Yeah. Yeah, it just goes on for infinity. Yeah, that's, yeah. So for really like being new to this, I just wanted to see what I could make, and that's what I made.
So, yeah,
Mhm. Oh, really? Oh, really? Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, I was gonna say that's a, that
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I would like to go like further depth and like make different synths and like add on to it, but I didn't know how to do that. So it's kind of it's new. Yeah, just went there so far. Yeah.
So you touched on two lines we're going to get to. I think it's two. Today we're going to touch on some other signal processing and doing like that. And then I think next week we'll probably but this is where SuperCollider becomes really interesting for dance music, algorithmic or dance music, ambient music, the type of things in its algorithmic capabilities, especially with Keyline. You can create complex sets of rules that will then go on forever and ever and ever. You can actually change the rules in real time. So you created a a sequence here for the duration, and then
Yeah.
the frequency has this kind of random set of 4 that it can grab from. And we can actually pop in other arrays of sequences to that in real time as well. So we can create this complex of all the songs. So you actually started on something here that, as Charlie mentioned, sort of a really great bed to a further piece. Even by itself is interesting already. And you could have taken it and pushed it a little bit further already by, if you just like taking the tempo and altering the tempo. There's a couple of very simple things you could have done that would have started to create some dynamicism to it. That would have,
Yeah.
what I didn't like to know is that you, even though you're feeling like you missed another process, that you were willing to jump in and start to explore some things hands on. Say, okay, I want this stuff. Let's see what I can get out because I have to.
Yeah.
So you got in there, you got something together that sounds really cool. And when we put through a pair of pretty decent speakers with a nice low end on it, it starts to sound pretty engaging, right? Had you heard this on anything besides that one previously?
I just played it on my computer and that's just the speakers on
Well, play it
the.
on music. It sounds good.
Yeah. Play on what?
Play it one more time.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry.
And then look at the synth depth. So,
Um,
so this is where
yeah, I don't know.
so we see this synth depth. We've actually got 3 different frequencies that we're using for it. And that's what's giving us this complexity of the kick drum itself, because a kick drum obviously has a lot of low ends to it, but we still need some sort of thud in that mid and high range. That, if you're thinking of a literal kick drum, that's when the beater hits the head. There's still some high frequency energy. And so this synth works really well by emulating those types of principles that go on in the physical world. And Roy's just kind of playing with those in the frequencies that are being passed in to the low end, it looks like. Oh, to the mid end. So what is, oh, so our low frequency is always a 50. But that one must be just serving as an impulse. Cool. Yeah.
Mhm. Very cool.
Yeah. Great. Throw some sort of crazy saxophone on top.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Roy.
Yeah.
All right, Sam, Fletcher, why don't we have you guys go next week? I'm not in the mood of torturing anyone today per se. Does that sound okay?
Can
I mean,
I tell you what I was trying to do? Or
Yeah, if you got it going, Sam, for sure.
I was just trying to like recreate a song. I was trying to recreate a song using like the task, like from last week when we were using like the different like multiple different simps to create a different note. And I had it all up. Yeah, I don't know why it
I
didn't save.
I do believe you. I hope you know that.
Is there a way to like save it? Like I tried saving it and I don't know if it like messed it all up.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because if you hit save, it should have saved it. I know. I'm sorry, Sam. I know this has got to feel real frustrating. I am sorry.
No, you're good. It's my fault for not correctly saving it.
It's not your fault. It happens, right? I mean, shit gets hard.
For mine, I was trying to make a Shepherd tone generator,
Yeah.
and I submitted it. All the code is there. It just doesn't work if you want to like look at it.
Okay. Well, first off,
Yeah.
here, Sam, do you want me to play what's up on the screen right now?
I don't know if it will do anything.
No, it doesn't.
I don't even know what it is. Like I think that
Yeah.
was like the first part that I tried. That's like the first thing that I did, and then I like got
Yeah.
rid of it.
I'm so sorry, Sam.
No, it's
Send me an email. Let's meet early next week, either in person or on Zoom, and have a conversation. Is that okay? I'm
okay.
really sorry that this happened to you.
That's fine. I'll figure it out. Right now, I'm currently trying to redo what I just did.
Yeah, I'm trying
I'm
to get
listening to
mine.
everybody's, but I'm also listening to mine.
Of course, of course, of course. Well, if you get something going, Sam, feel free to send it to us. Otherwise, we can do it. Sam, why don't you just take the pressure off yourself? We'll do it next week, okay?
Okay.
No
I'll
harm.
still work on it. I'm trying
Okay,
to work
for
on it.
sure. Great. And then Fletcher, so you said this is not working, Fletcher?
Yeah, it was working last night. I was messing with it. My computer went into rest mode. I spammed the little mouse button to turn it back on. And I was on my code, but I didn't think I messed anything up, so I just closed it. But I might have messed something up. Because it seems pretty not happy. Yeah, that. Up at the top of that, if you scroll up, it says like basic put failed.
Oh, this is what's going on here. Yeah. You're creating a function here. Well, Fletcher, let's meet on this next week. Is that okay?
Yeah, like a meeting or like just try to figure it out for class. Like,
Both.
okay. Makes sense.
Send me an email. We'll get a time on the books, okay?
All right.
Great.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Nice job. Really enjoyed everything you got so far. Let's take 15 minutes here, come back at 20 till, and we'll jump into some basic signal processing type UGENs that be used for mixing and other types of stuff, okay? Cool. Really, really, really enjoyed everyone's projects. Thank you so much for everyone's projects this morning. How about this here? I got an idea. We're gonna stop sharing. And we're gonna stop the recording.